right, so I want to pause. Okay. So you'll hear a little button that says we're recording it. It's just so that the people that missed it, I can go ahead and upload it to YouTube later. So, okay. All right, so today we're doing a hard gel and we're going to be using a really hard sculpting gel, and we're going to be sculpting with our forms. So we're actually going to try and do like a little bit of a stiletto nail today, which is kind of exciting. We'll do reverse application. So I'm going to use my hand here, and you guys can call her whatever name you want to call her. I change her name every week, you know this. So, so for those of you that have already seen like how to prepare a natural nail, you already know how to do that. But I am going to go ahead and just prepare the nail just like I would for a regular extension. And I do use an e-file in my professional work, and down the road in our classes, we're going to be working with an e-file as well. So this idea is just so that you can see how to make sure we don't have anything shiny. All right. Today I used actually a clear tip in here as opposed to like the skin colored tip. I don't know if you guys have seen those before, but yeah, just clear tip. We're going to be using some Cover Pink gel today. So, okay, so make sure everything is nice and prepared. No shiny, no shiny, no shiny. If there is, you're going to have little lifting spots. You don't want that. You want it to adhere really well. Okay, so brush it off. Now, something that I learned when I started sculpting, and I actually learned this, I've been doing nails for 27 years, but I took some classes from some people in Hungary, Budapest, Hungary. And I always thought, well, if the nail was kind of long here, that was great for us to be able to, you know, put that form right under there, and that would be helpful. And we need to actually take it down a little bit. So we're going to file this natural nail down. And you want to make sure that the natural nail is even, it's short and then rounded on the corners. Because as you fit that form under there, you do not want these little square edges. You apply your product, and then as you would start filing it down, those little corners would pop out. Okay. And you don't want that to happen. Not only is it like a mark of it's demarcation, but it's also weak spots. You don't want that. So take down all of the natural nails to be all the same length and make sure that they're nice and rounded. Okay. So clean that off. And we are going to be using, let me grab something here. Okay. So we're going to be using this. This is really exciting. So this is actually a set of tools that Katie Barnes has sent me. Katie Barnes is an amazing nail artist competition winner, and she started her own product line, and she's in the UK, but this is actually a form fitting set. So how cool is that, right? So they're just a very, very, like very precise, tiny little scissors. You see that? So we're actually going to use our tiny little scissors for our form fitting today. So just wanted to show you guys that, because it's such like, what a beautiful gift, right? So we're going to be using Stiletto Forms and just our generic stiletto form. Okay. Go ahead and peel it off of the back. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me show you this real quick. Okay. So you know how when you're working on a hand, like it's so hard to get your forms to stick to these hands. Okay. So here's my little trick. So I got these Band-Aids, and they're just like super, super cheap plastic Band-Aids, but because they're a little bit stretchy, we can actually put that on our finger like this. I know it's like such a funny thing to talk about, but here, let's put a Band-Aid on our doll. And there we go. That gives us something better for our form to fit to. Okay. So we'll do that first. There we go. Leave her alone. Okay, so here's our form, and we'll go ahead and pull it off. And for those of you that have joined class before, I feel bad because I know that this is super redundant, but for those that watch it maybe on YouTube or things like that that have never applied a form, it's good reminders for them. So taking your center, to make sure that you put it here, extra strength, always make sure it's up and down like this, never crooked. If you put it on there crooked, you're going to have a twisted nail. You don't want that. So then tear apart the back. And always roll these in between your thumb and finger to get them more maneuverable, because our nails don't grow flat, they grow kind of rounded, right? So now we're going to try and slide it under our nail. And this is where you can see that it's going to fit very nicely under that free edge there. And that's another reason why I used a clear tip, because I wanted you to see how far under we're sliding that form, and it's not very far at all. It will also help us to see that this line right here needs to go straight up that knuckle, okay? Now, when we cut our side walls, we're actually going to cut a 45-degree angle where the natural nail and that form kind of meet up together, okay? Now, these forms have some markings. Those are not what you want to cut. You actually want to measure it to each of the nails. So I take my scissors and I actually kind of scratch it in there a little bit. Scratch it in here. And then we're going to cut that 45, okay? Did you see that? That cut like butter. Wow, these are sharp. Okay, there you go. Boom. Wow, that's nice. Katie Clark. So her business is Katie Barnes, but then she got married, took her husband's name. That's so great. I'm gonna have to tell her, thank you so much for these great tools. Okay, now here's another tip for you guys. So we have our little 45s. We have all that ready, but sometimes it's hard to get these exactly even. So before you slide it in the nail, it's really okay to just grab it like this, your two little pieces, your little tails, and put them together. Because if you make them cattywampus like this, once again, your nails are going to be twisty. They're going to be cattywampus. You don't want that. So go ahead and slide this in like this. Make sure our line is nice and perfect where we want it. All right, not so deep. And with a stiletto nail, a pointed nail, you want to close down that form edge, okay? Now, when you're doing like a square nail, I had talked about how you want to leave it open because you want that beautiful C curve. But when you're doing a pointed nail, you want it nice and tight. You want that very, very closed. So depending on how long you're going to make that pointed nail depends on what number you're going to close it to, okay? So right now, I'm going to go to a number 3. We're going to go all the way to number 3. All right, and I closed it all the way to a number 3. You see that? And then I close it tight up underneath the bottom of the nail. Thank goodness for Band-Aids on our silicone fingers. And then here's our little wings. Okay. And I'm going to turn her hand so you can see how straight this form is, how flush it is, and where that 45 degree is cut. Okay, see that? And you want that on both sides. You can also see where everything has been nice and tight. It's very taut under there, okay? So next, if you had a client, you would be using like a dehydrator, something like that. We're gonna use Spa One. This is out of BC. This is a great product. This is Agent B, and it is a Dehydrator pH Balancer, and it just prepares that nail to receive your enhancement. Okay, so here's our Agent B. I love that we can see that clear tip. You can see that form slid so perfectly under there. And then it shows you that it's not like pushed way far back into a hyponychium, because that could cause some pain, right? Definitely don't want that. Okay, so our Agent B is applied. Okay, so now we're actually going to use our bonding gel. Now, before we use our bonding gel, I am going to show you, I have several different gel brushes here. A lot of times people say they only want to use a synthetic gel brush, or maybe they like a natural hair gel brush. I have both. So here's a synthetic hairbrush, and here's a natural hairbrush. This one is going to be very, very soft. This one is used a lot more with like floater gels. And this one is a lot stiffer. And when you have a brand new brush, you definitely want to break that glue that's holding it in there, break that out. Okay. And we're also going to prime this brush. Now, I showed people before, but I'm going to show you again. You actually take a dollop of clear gel. Okay. So this is our bonding gel. And I'm just going to go ahead and take a big dollop of it. And in the lid, right, let someone else in, yay. Okay, go. In the lid, we're going to rub this gel deeply into our bristles. That is priming our brush. Now, why do we do this? Okay, gel comes in a lot of colors. Even today, we're going to be using clear. We'll use a cover pink, and we're going to use a builder white. Okay, you don't want your gel colors to stick in your brush. So if I were to go from white to pink, you know that when you prime your brush, you get all that gel in those bristles, that you're not going to have gel color that sticks. Okay, so that's one of the reasons. The other reason is if you were to just go right in with a brush that hadn't been primed or prepared, your gel is going to like get stuck in all of those bristles, and it's not going to move or maneuver the way that you want it to. Okay, so once I do that, I actually just have a little towel with me, and I will wipe off all that remaining gel. We know that it's still nice and shiny. It's still nice and primed. You can see that it's ready to go. Okay. So with bonding gel, this is actually just a light coat. I call this double-sided sticky tape. Okay. And you kind of scrub bonding gel in. Okay. So push that back to the cuticle. And remember, gel follows gel. So whatever we lay down as our base is going to be our base for all of our gel application today. Okay, so there we go. Got that. So I'm going to move my brush and my gel out of the way before I grab my light, because you don't want that to get all cured. I have cured more than my share of lights. I mean, more than my share of brushes. How about you guys? Okay. All right. So I'm actually going to take the bottom off of this. Makes it easier. And we'll do a 60-second cure. Now, the light that I'm using today, I know that it's been really hard to get a hold of lamps all over Canada. I know it's been hard even in the US, but I know for a fact that this company does have some lamps in stock, and that is Nail Flight. So it's a great, great group of girls, and they're based out of Georgia. So she sent me this light, and I'm like, thank you so much. I will use this when I'm doing my lives. So that's Nail Flight USA. That's their website. So, and something else they have, this is really cool. Let me show you this. So they actually have one of these little like flashlights, like the little ones like this, see? So like if you're doing nail art and you don't want stuff to move, it's just like a tiny little LED flash bulb that you can use to like keep your stuff stuck, which I had posted something about some different gel settings, like how to apply different gel. Not gel, I'm sorry. Like the Swarovski crystals. That's what I had talked about. So, okay. So these are the gel products we're using. Spa One, of course. So this, originally people thought, well, this was just a school brand. It's not. It's also a professional brand. It can be used in salons. Their gel is excellent, you guys. It is absolutely excellent. So here's just a couple of them. We have Control Pink and we have Warm Cotton Candy. I love, let me show you. This is the Warm Cotton Candy. Okay, here is the full coverage. Okay, because of the skin tone of our hand, we're actually going to use this one today. Okay, do you guys think? Yes. Okay, anyways, this is Spa One, and it's LED and UV both. So, okay, so we're going to take just a little bit because we're going to do what I call a slip layer. Have you heard of that before? For some of you who are gel techs, I'm sure you have. So we're actually going to take just a little bit and we're going to kind of just brush it on. Now, remember how I said gel is going to follow gel. So whatever your first base is, your gel is going to follow it. Now, this is a pretty big brush. If you want to get it nice and tight into the cuticle, you can always use a little brush to kind of maneuver that to where you want it. This is going to be your very first slip layer. Okay, now you don't cure this. This is just your base. Okay, so get that down. Okay, that's our slip layer. Now we're going to go ahead and take a bead of gel. And this is going to be our first sculpting layer. Okay, so you can see that this is not self-leveling. It doesn't move. You can see that even in the package, right? It's like not going anywhere. Other techs are used to more flowing, self-leveling gel. Okay, I started as an acrylic tech. So when you're an acrylic tech and you really do good with acrylic, to go and change to gel can like really be a mind job on you. It really can. So that's why I like this kind of gel, because I'm able to maneuver it a little bit more like how I would an acrylic. Okay. So I went ahead and rolled off our first bead. I don't know if you saw that. It was like this little whoosh, right like that. So now I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to hold it up and down. So that is perpendicular. And we're going to just maneuver this like this, like little tiny strings back and forth. And maneuver that gel right where we want it. Okay. But because I put down our slip layer, that gel is following right into right where I want it to, right? Now we're going to go over on this side. Over this way. All right. And one of the things that is good and bad about gel, I'm going to tell you right now, especially for like, I don't know, I get a little bit finicky about it, is you can maneuver it and it's going to go, you know, especially a builder like this, you can just kind of maneuver it where you want it until it's time to cure it. It's going to be movable until you cure it anyways, is what I'm saying. But that also means that I could just sit here and like fart around with it for a really long time. So I got to not do that. Okay. So that looks good, but I really don't like the smile line area. So this is what we're going to do. Okay. Oh, Angel, you were curing the base layer. Oh my goodness, Megan, you too. Okay. Yay. You guys learned something. That's so great. Okay. Okay. So here I just have my little towel. I'm just wiping that off a little bit so that I can come through here and really make this like a nice, crisp smile line. Okay. Because I don't want it like wonky. I want it really beautiful. All right. That looks pretty good. Now there is a little bit of a dip, and that's okay because we're just going to we'll do a couple different layers here, okay? Now, once you get a really good sculpted nail, filling it is super easy, right? Okay, so we'll go ahead and cure this, little 60 seconds on the clock, right? Okay, so Christine, you said, yeah, it's not messy like the other gels. It's not, and you were curing the base area. Okay, so you don't have to cure it. Yay. That just kind of helps you. That's why it's still slippery, right? The gel slips around. So that's super helpful. It's so funny when you've been a nail tech for a long time and you start like demonstrating or teaching, you start doing things that you just were like so naturally doing. But when you start breaking it down, you're like, no, we have to do a little base layer. And then we do this, then we do this. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you guys, that makes me so happy. Just kind of test it out, right? All right. So there's our 60 seconds. Okay, so now you can see, I'm going to turn her little hand to the side. You can still see that there's a little bit of a dip here. And so we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more there. And we'll just use our same, just our builder gel. And we don't need a whole lot. So we'll do just, I don't know, probably about like that much maybe. Okay. We'll roll it off. And then we're still going to be able to maneuver it back and forth. Now, I'm actually adding a little bit more gel here because we want that smile line, that area, to be the thickest part of the nail before we add our white. You want that white and that pink to really butt up against each other. So I'm going to make that kind of into like a shelf. Okay. So do this. So we did almost the exact same thing that we did with our first bead. And move that around a little. All right. Okay. Yes, ma'am. We are going to be filing the smile line today. So definitely that is an excellent way to really get that super crisp smile line. And if you've ever competed or if you have any interest in competition, that is something like you see the crispest, most amazing smile lines in your life. Yeah. Oh my goodness. If you guys ever want to see somebody whose competition work is out of this world, Madeline Wolf. Okay. She works for Indigo, and I believe she is in Poland. Okay. Madeline Wolf. All right. So I just went ahead and crisped that up a little bit more. All right. Okay, that looks good. So now we're going to go ahead and cure that. "60 seconds on the clock. Okay, so yep, I actually did demonstrate the traditional method on the very, very first Zoom I ever did. But yes, I will show you guys how to do like both if you would like. It's no problem. It's funny because everybody's going to be developing their own techniques. So the question was asked, I don't know if you guys saw this in the chat, but like when you're doing a nail course, especially with Mirage Spa, we don't encourage you to do the reverse method because we want you to learn how to do traditional method, which is your white first and then your pink. So, but you both have their place. So, and we have people here that are professional as well as students. So that's great. And considering we're making everything like available to the public right now, so good. All right, so move that out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and clean this off, okay? So I'm just using regular alcohol. Put my gel away. And this is the same method that you would use if you wanted a colored tip and you wanted to sculpt the colored tip in there, okay? All right, so I clean that off. And now we are going to not only file the top, but we're going to file that smile line real nice and crisp, okay? So we're going to use, this flat edge, okay? Push that in. Now, it's very important when you are sculpting and you start doing this, where you're filing that smile line, it's important not to push down. It's important to push toward your smile line. Does that make sense? Because if you push down, you know what you're going to do? You are going to lose that beautiful seal that you have with your form. And then when you go to put your white or your colored gel in the free edge, that is all going to seep and you don't want that. Okay. So we like this for sure. Best kind of alcohol to use for nails. Okay, great question. So I just use 70% isopropyl alcohol for anytime I'm like removing that dispersion layer. That seems to be just plenty to get all of that out. Speaking of, do you guys know what a dispersion layer is? You know that gel cures from like the inside out, right? From like the bottom up. So that dispersion layer on the top is actually gel that has been left, like it hasn't cured. So you have to remove it, of course, before you're going to start filing it. But not only that, you have to remove it because you don't want allergic reactions for your clients. So something else to remember. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and file across the top a little bit because we want that nice and smooth. This is actually something I learned from Europe, which is kind of awesome. File that down a little bit, kind of get our apex where we want it before we apply our white, which I know is different. It's a little bit surprising, right? We're able to really get a nice, beautiful nail put in here. All right. And it's not a lot of filing, it's just a little. And because it's gel, it files very easily with our little hand file. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so Shy, you're saying, did I extend the nail bed? Why should you not start with an overlay file, then apply the form? Okay, so I did extend the nail bed, but very, very slightly. Very, very, very slightly. So if you were to do it your way, you absolutely could do it that way, but you want to make sure that your pink is a little bit thick because your pink and your white are going to butt up together, right? And then so when you have your nail, that's going to be like the highest part of the nail. That apex is going to be right there. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to bend her finger for you to see. I got a blur forward. There we go. It's like not natural for her finger to bend that way, is it? Sorry. Okay, so we got it. Nice and crisp here. And if you have one of those wooden, okay, I'm going to show you something really quick. Okay, if you have one of those wooden files, like really, really thin wooden files, those ones seems to work really, really well for filing the smile line because they're very thin. Okay, so that's really good. Okay, so I don't know if you saw this, but I just lost my seal. So instead of me going right in with my white, I'm actually going to take a little bit of clear and I'm going to re-adhere that seal. Okay, so that's a good thing for you guys to see because sometimes that happens, you know? So, all right, so I just grabbed a little bit here. So, you know what? Each state is going to have different regulations for sanitation and disinfection. So I know here in Florida, so for those of you that didn't see, the question was, is 70% alcohol the same for what you would use for cleaning your tools? So in Florida, you actually end up, we use Lucocide, which is, it's like a germicide, and we use it in autoclave. You have autoclaves because there is a difference between sanitation and disinfection. So disinfecting something, I mean, that's like wiping down your counters with, with bleach or whatever, but yeah, that would not be enough to like sanitize your tools. So each state is going to have, or each province is going to have something different. Hey, Geraldine, how are you? Okay, so I'm actually going to go in here and I'm going to use that little bit of clear, and I'm going to reseal that little edge. Okay. There, no big deal. But that's a good thing for you to see, because now we know that we won't have that white seepage under there, right? Just read here. So that's good. Yep, sanitize, disinfect, and sterilize. Very good. Very, very good. All right, so here's this. We'll just do our 60 seconds. So we have people here from all over. You know who we're missing today, who's been here every week faithfully, is Andrea. Andrea is from Argentina, so she's been joining us too. So we have people from all the different provinces and people from different states in the US, and we have a couple from Nebraska representing my girls from the Midwest. That's so great. So for those that have just jumped in with us, we are doing a hard gel, and we just sculpted an extended nail bed, just a short extended nail bed, but we're going to be doing a pointed nail, and we're making it French. It's going to be so beautiful. So we did our extended nail bed and we crisped the smile line. So we took a file and we just filed it so it's nice and crisp. Now we're going to be adding our white. All right, so there we go. All right, so now we're all nice and sealed again. See that? Isn't that great? So that's a little tip. Like sometimes you think to yourself, oh my gosh, I just lost my seal and I have no choice but to take the form off and do it all over again. Nope, that's a little trick. Trick of the pros, right? All right, so now we're going to use white, and we're going to use white builder. Once again, I just like builders, but if I know you've seen where you can use like different colors of gel. So I actually have a ton of colors here, and I won't use them today because I promised it was going to be pink and white. But for example, you could use like this, okay, which is one of the Spa One gel colors, and it comes in a pot. So there's absolutely no waste. You're not losing anything down in the bottom of a bottle. You have full access to a whole pot. So this is actually a gel polish, and it's soakable, and you can soak it off. You can use it on natural nails, or you can use it like if you were building, we could put that down and then do clear on top of it. So that's kind of cool, right? So just showing you that stuff. Okay, so here is our white builder. Once again, not going anywhere, right? So let's take this, get ourselves a little bead, and we're going to roll it off, and this is going to be our little slippy layer. So we're going to kind of tell it where we want it. So we're going to use this form following our stiletto line, okay, our pointed line. Push it up here into the corner. Oh yes, you know how many times like we'll use a form over and over and over again, we'll lose our seal and have to refit it, or we've been taught for years and years, all right, you have no choice but just to take the nail off. And that's definitely not the case anymore. And I don't know if like other people know that trick, or if that's just me being like, hey, I am not going to lose this form anymore, we're going to use it this way. So resealing it is definitely helpful. And I've done the same with a wet bead of acrylic as well. So really getting up into that little corner there, turn it here. You can see where our 45 is cut, kind of drag down. And it's okay if your gel like extends out just a smidge. Like this is our lateral sidewall, and that's super important when we're filing. But because you will always have a really, really thin, like raggedy edge, we're going to be filing that into like the proper form. So it's outside of the lateral sidewall, but just a smidge. And that's because we're going to be coming back and filing that. So if we started where it was exactly supposed to be, and then we filed, we would actually knock out part of our sidewall. Does that make sense? So that's something I see a lot. I see a lot of people who will start filing and they're like, I want this nail to be nice and thin. And it's like a wide, let's say it's like a thumb, and they want a skinny nail. And they're like, hell, I'll just do this. Not hell. It was, hey, aisle. I didn't mean to like smash that word together. Hey, aisle, just like file, and you end up taking out the sidewall. Okay, can't do that. Don't do that. Okay, so this is like a little slip layer. We're gonna go ahead and build more. Okay, so I'm gonna grab another bead. A little whip my little tail around. Here we go. All right, we're gonna let someone else in. Yay. All right. Okay, so we have our bead. Now roll it off. And using our brush perpendicular, I know that that feels weird to people who are not, they're used to being an acrylic tech, and they are used to pushing their brush flat. Using it up and down like this to string back and forth is so crazy, right? But it's very, very helpful. All right, and getting up into like right, butting up that white, right up into that pink. It's okay. No one, we're gonna file it right off. You can see, a little stringy. All right, kind of push that where we want it. I love a builder gel so much more than like a floaty. I just have so much more control over it. I don't know. My mom and dad would tell me I was a control freak, probably. All right. There we go. That's a good look. Now, here is another little trick. If you guys are using something that is semi self-leveling, and sometimes, you know, we'll use something that's self-leveling. If you find that your gel is like floating, like down, is like, bleh, right? Did you know you can actually flip your hand over for a couple seconds and it pulls it away from the cuticle and it pulls it away right to where that apex needs to be? So you just hold it like this and then you flip it back over and slide it right in your light. Trick of the trade. True statement. Ask JC, she does it. All right. So I like it. I'm not going to keep fiddling around with it. I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? Yeah. I mean, it always looks like a messy mess until you get it all filed, right? It's okay. So remember, put your gel away. So I always put that away. And then we'll cure it. Okay. Now with the white, here's something else. This is a builder that is really very, very pigmented. Very pigmented. So what we need to do is we'll cure the top. We're going to take the form off and we're going to flip the hand over and we're going to cure the bottom too. Okay. So that'll just be, it's just a good habit to get into. Have you ever been filing like your white or maybe a color and you brush your file over it or your e-file and it's gummy? It's because it's not cured all the way through. Oh, it's like, man, that was such a good nail. It's all right. We know how to fix it. We know what we need to do. So. All right. It's always like the longest 60 seconds of your life. All right, there we go. Okay, so now I'll be taking my alcohol. Clean everything off. And we're going to break that seal ever so slightly. And you saw when we were sculpting, we actually sculpted down to the number 3, right? So yeah. Where you want it all nice and pinched, real sharp on the free edge there. So yep, and that is the case with this one. So I'm really glad that I'm showing you. So you could see there's still that little tiny bit of gel on your form. At least it's cured enough that it's not, you know, moving around. Let's go ahead and flip our hand over. And you can see where that has happened. So I'm going to go ahead and take my gel brush and we're just going to smooth this out. I think this happened on accident one time to somebody and they decided to make it into art. And that's where they came up with like the ice, like the broken ice nail and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys seen any of that. So crazy. All right, so here we'll do our 60-second from the bottom. I'll be good. Yeah, Christine, I know. And you know what's crazy? So having to like redo a gel nail, or if you're applying it and you're applying it so thin and it ends up breaking off, I mean, that can be super frustrating as well, right? So these are just little tricks that, you know, you develop over time. And I'm so happy to share them with you. So while we're waiting, I just got new glasses. I kind of feel like this is really funny, right? And they're these little cat eye glasses and I got them from Zini Optical. Have you guys ever heard of that place? It's like you put in your prescription and like your pupillary distance like that. And you can get a pair of glasses for like $10, $15, $20 with your prescription. Not even joking. These are like my $16 cat eyes. And I was like, I think I need all different colors of glasses. Every week, I'm going to have new glasses on. All right, so we're going to go ahead and clean the bottom of that because we did, you know, that gel is going to be there and it's going to be a little bit sticky. But you can see where we extended that nail bed just a tiny bit, but there's no seepage. Remember how we had lost our seal from our form, but we put that clear in there and resealed it real quickly. And we didn't lose that seal to where we have that white seepage. So that's really great. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and file. So I have made this statement several times before, like make sure that you push my nail back in, develop a filing system. So we're going to go straight down that lateral sidewall. This is where we're going to be so glad that we have just a little bit of that extra gel right there. But developing a filing system is very important because you will end up filing the exact same way every single time. Okay. All right. Yes, Megan, it sure is. I'm loving me some Zini Optical. I'm ready to order all kinds of new glasses. I'll be like, the many faces of Phoenix. What will she wear this week? Okay, so we have our nice pointed edge. Okay, and this would be like a salon stiletto. Down the road, when we do some more classes, I really would like to teach like a stiletto, like, you know, like a 3-inch stiletto. I want to teach you guys that one. Okay. All right. So now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and file. Now, remember how I said you'd like do your own file system. Mine goes like this. I go on one side and then across the back and then down the other side. That's my file system. Here, down the side, and here. And then I actually go towards like the body of the nail. And then I actually hit this, like this is going to be my smile line area. I hit that next. Okay. Because we know that this area is going to be the highest part of our nail. This is our apex, right? So I don't want to file all of that down because I put it there for a reason. I don't want to lose it. All right. So something else I've noticed, there's been a lot of nails that have come through with the assessments that have been really, really thick. Now, do you guys know how thick a nail should be when it's completed? You can answer in the chat if you want to. It's actually going to really surprise you. Yes, good job, you guys. Like we've heard Phoenix talk long enough. We know how just no thicker than a credit card. So now I'm going to go down this way. Our free edge here. Yep, credit card, credit card, credit card. Perfect. So sometimes like in our repair module, our module 4, we end up doing repairs where you file down your clear to go to a pink and white, right? So one of the things we need to file our clear down to about the thickness of a business card. So that's even thinner. But then, you know, as you start filing, you're not going to knock out your sidewalls. You're not going to lose your, back in. Oh my gosh, you're not going to lose your pink little ears when you're doing your smile lines, right? All right, almost here. And of course, if you have an e-file, that's going to be much faster, but it's good to learn how to do hand filing as well. And I say this every week, I love hand filing. I'm feeling the need to do like a very extreme set of nails. And I think if I do, I should just do a time-lapse video. Wouldn't that be cool? Even just on just one fingernail. All right, almost there, guys. All right, so looking down the barrel, I'm going to move this in our camera here. Looking down the barrel, it's really, really thin on this side and it's a little bit thicker on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and file this side here, up and over, so that it matches, okay? Because you want everything to be the same thickness all the way across. And looking down the barrel like that is really smart. That's why even when I'm like, hey, send me your photographs or whatnot, I want you to definitely send it looking down the barrel. So this is just like a salon pointed nail. So, oh yes, of course, Shai, thank you so much for coming. And yes, I will get this uploaded onto YouTube later. And then, yeah, next week we'll have a whole nother class. You'll be great. So tell your clients thank you while you joined us. Okay, so yeah, there we go. You ready? I'm gonna show it to you. Wah, 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 wah. There. See how thin? Now, a good structured nail like this one is gonna have that nice little C curve, and you can see it. Get the junk out of the way. There we go. Okay, you're gonna see that C curve all the way across like this. Okay, I should really like flip her hand around so it doesn't look like I'm breaking her finger. There we go. There we go. Nice and thin. And you can see a little bit here, like where where we repaired that one little nail, not even repaired the nail, but where we had that little bit of, where we had to cure it from underneath, right? So it's, at this point, it'd be totally okay to use an e-file. It's actually always okay to use an e-file. So I'm gonna grab mine really quick, and I'm just gonna run a quick little zoop, zoop underneath there. I just have a little, like, here's a little football bit. I'll just use that. Crank that baby up. I'm excited to like teach e-file classes down the road. All right. Nice and smooth. You don't want anything nasty under there. There we go. All right. All right. That's so much better. I saw that. I was like, this is disturbing. Can't have that. Okay. So remove all of our dust. And now we're going to use our top gloss. I moved her Band-Aid. Let me just cut it off. Oh my goodness. So dumb. All right. You guys can never say that I don't entertain you, because I am pretty entertaining. All right. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of top gloss, okay? But that's just like a nice little salon nail. Apex is perfect on the side. We didn't lose our sidewall. Both sides, didn't lose our sidewall. Okay, and now we'll just do our top gloss. So I'm actually gonna use the top gloss also from this spool. Get our dust out of the way. And so here we go. It's also in a pot. And it actually is going to be kind of like a purpley color. Can you see that? Because it has UV protectant. Now, one of the benefits of priming your brush. Oh yes, Shelly. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop what I was saying, my sentence. So Shelly asked if they're recorded. Yes, they are, and they're going to be put on YouTube. So every single one for the last like 4 weeks has been recorded, with the exception till last week. But that's because I had lost internet. But I recorded a video of what I taught last week, and I'm going to be putting that on YouTube today. So we primed the brush, right? I was able to prime that. So I've used clear, I've used pink, I've used white, and you can see there is absolutely no residue in my brush. That's why we prime our brushes, one of the reasons. So now I can use it to use my top gloss. Okay. And this is a floater. And you definitely want to make sure that you float it, like float enough. So when I'm doing this, the top gloss, I actually start back here, and I will kind of push it back towards the cuticle and then brush it forward. And this can be used on both acrylic and gel both. So would I say, okay, listen, for real, Megan. So I've used a lot of gels. I love, in the past, I've used, gels from all over the world. One of my go-tos was always like accents. Okay. I would say, and accents, I know that the nailtech store actually sells accents as well, but I would say that this gel, it definitely rivals the best gels that I've ever used. So yes, I would say as a professional product, this is a fantastic, fantastic product. And as a student, you are so lucky that these are the things that you have been exposed to as a student. Okay. Sometimes as professionals, like we have to go searching and searching and searching, and you've been exposed to them already. So this is our top gloss, and I go ahead and apply it pretty thick. It is self-leveling, so we're just going to kind of let it level into place. Right? Isn't that beautiful? Like it's like a really good glossy nail. Okay, so we'll go ahead, and this is where that tip comes into play. Move that out of the way. Where you can flip the hand over like this, and let that pull away from the cuticles on both sides. before you cure it. Yep. Okay. There we go. And then you don't get any pooling on your tips either. Because have you ever had that happen where you're like, you've done this beautiful set of nails and now it's pooling and you're like, now I have like a big glob on one side or a glob on this side. Yeah. Flip it over. So, okay. So while this is doing this, while it's finished curing, and I'm going to cure it twice actually under the light here. So everything I did today, all of the products can be found at Spa One, which that's nailtechstore.ca. And we're running a special right now where if you buy 2 of our pot gel polishes, you get 3 for free. And they have over 100 colors. I just learned that. So the promo code is promo07. Good week. And that's nailtechstore.ca. So that's like that blue one that I showed you. So I have several of them here, but very, very, they're UV, LED, soakable, and in a pot. That's kind of cool, right? I'm going to go ahead and do 2 of these. And then the other store, which has the lamps, is Nail Flight USA. So that's the other one. And they have a lot of really fun nail arty type stuff as well. So they're cute. The girls there are wonderful. And they're just like very, their customer service is impeccable. So like a mom and pop shop, they're pretty great. Just love them. So those are kind of the good things. And then for those of you that have already heard about this, I'm so sorry, but I have to say it again anyways. So we're doing these classes for free for the rest of the month of February and the entire month of March. But then come April, on the Mirage website, so miragespa.ca, you'll see that you can join in a membership, and that membership will be very inexpensive. I think it's like $20 for students, $30 for professionals. You get 4 classes a month. So every week at the same time, you will have classes and you have access to all of those classes indefinitely. You also get, there's 1 class every month that is an interview with somebody who is very influential in the nail industry. So a lot of different people are on the lineup for that, whether it's someone who has written for magazines or someone who is behind the scenes with like the chemistry side of things, right? So you'll get that. You also get a private Facebook group where you have access to me at any time and you have access to each other. And then you'll get promos and stuff. So I just want you guys to know, like, all of this is free for now and it's really great, but coming down the road, and that's when we're going to start getting into a lot of like more technical things. These are like these things that we're doing here, like this is wonderful and it's simple, but down the road, it's going to get more and more. So anyway, so here's our beautiful nail for today. It's very simple. And then at this point, you would wipe off your dispersion layer and put a little bit of cuticle oil and you're good to go. So that's it, my friends. I am so, so, so grateful that you all came today. Thank you. And don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, okay? You can shoot me on, Facebook or Instagram or any of that, or you can reach me at assessments@miragespaeducation.com. That's my email. So, all right, let me know if you guys need anything. Thank you so much. Bye.